Good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News. My name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and we're bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for joining me here this morning. And good morning, Patty Cakes. Thank you so much for reposting the stream and everybody else who's joining us here this morning on Unfiltered Vision News. So, yesterday, I was asked to do some coverage regarding the Texas redistricting, but in particular, I was asked to cover a let's just say representative in Texas. Her name is Nicole Collier. Now, this is Women in Wellness Wednesday, and we will get to our wellness. I guarantee you, but I just wanted to let you guys know up front, we are going to be discussing Nicole in just her role currently with the Democrats and how, from her perspective, she is fighting for Democrats in her district, and she's in District 95 in Texas. But I wanted to start out with a scripture, and I forgot to bring it up, but let me bring it up really quick here because it was very to the point. It was one of those things. I was having my quiet time this morning. I was like, this is really beautiful, and I want to make sure that I read it because we need we need all the encouragement we can get, right? Definitely all the encouragement we can get. I want to make sure I bring up the right version because some versions are different. There's so many versions of the Bible, right? It's kind of crazy. You're like, I didn't realize there were that many versions. Yeah, you can get it. But I try to, you know, make sure that I'm doing the right thing, as they say. So I wanted to, let me share my screen. Start off with that because, hey, Dr. C, she says, greetings, founder. Greetings, Dr. C. Yeah, I know I have prayer with Friday, but this one, I wanted to share this scripture. Oh, ABC 2000. Good morning, founder. We love you. Oh, love you guys back. Thank you so much. Because this particular scripture is encouraging. And Dr. C, thank you for reposting the stream. So it's Psalm 37, 1 through 11. It says, do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass, they will soon wither. Like green plants, they will soon die away. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will do this. He will make your righteousness, your righteous reward, shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret. It leads only to evil. For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. A little while, and the wicked will be no more. Though you look for them, they will not be found. But the meek will inherit the land and enjoy peace and prosperity. So I just wanted to read that to encourage you guys because I know right now we are in a time, I don't want to say it's confusing. I won't say that. But we are in a time when we're seeing such a rampant wickedness that is so obvious. And I know a lot of us, we can get discouraged by it. It's like, how are these wicked people doing all these things and get away with all these things when we see it, when our leaders see it and we're like, make it stop. You guys have the authority to get in there and stop it. And the Lord is telling us, look, I'm going to handle this. I got this. I got you. I know what's happening. I know what's going on. I got you. Let me do my thing. Right? It's almost like, when your dad would come home and things were kind of crazy and he would just stand there and he'd be like, "Look, wait a minute. Hold everybody calm down. I got this." And that's the way we have to remember that God has not abandoned us. He has not forgotten us. And in this passage that I just read to you, he said, "For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land." And that's it. That's it. Hope in the Lord. You will inherit the land. All this craziness that's going on, yeah, it's crazy. Trust me, I got to cover it in the news. But I know at the end of all this, God's people will prosper. So I just wanted to give you guys that hope and encouragement starting out the show because obviously, yeah, like I said, we got to get into it because there's some things we have to address and get into because, oh my goodness, yes, there's a lot going on. And so we're going to look at Texas. That's where we're going to start. And yesterday I was asked by someone to cover Nicole Collier, and she represents District 95. I want to say she is a state house representative. And currently, the Democrats at the state level in Texas, they are fighting against Donald Trump. That's at least their position. And the redistricting and the additional districts that will be added as House seats. Now, these House seats are going to affect the federal level, not the state level. So I know there's a lot going on because a lot of times people say, "We're running for Congress." What does that mean? Does that mean Senate? No. When people say they're running for Congress, they're running for the House. When people are running for Senate, they're running for the Senate. That's it. Those are the two things. But even at the state level, it's kind of the same way. They can be like, "Yeah, I'm running for state congressman." Oh, then they're running for the House. If they're running for a state senator, they're running for a state senator. It's very distinct, but it can be confusing because people will like to say Congress and then call themselves a senator, and that's the confusing part. Senators are senators. Congress, that is a deferment to the House. Okay, so now that we have that housekeeping out of the way, I wanted to start with a video that kind of sets the stage for where we are at. We've got some Democrats, as everybody knows, because it was all over the media and it was just pounded into us. And I'm so grateful that I found the video that talked about fate and how they use it, right, to actually they use it as a propaganda acronym, right, to cause fear and awareness and these different things to us because that's all we saw mostly on the news, and they kept drilling it and drilling it and drilling it. And I'm like, interesting how they keep the focus on that. Interesting how that keeps being in our headline. So we really need to look at the news from an outside perspective, right? When they are repeatedly showing narratives, we need to ask why. We need to really question what are they doing and why are they doing it. So let's start with Abbott.
Democratic lawmakers who left the state to block a vote on a controversial redistricting plan. The move follows civil arrest warrants issued by the Texas House for the absent members. The Democrats left Texas on Sunday and traveled to Illinois in an effort to prevent a vote on a Republican-backed plan to redraw the state's congressional map. The proposed changes could give Republicans 5 additional seats in the 2026 midterm elections. The redistricting push has the backing of President Donald Trump. Governor Abbott criticized the Democrats' actions, accusing them of abandoning their responsibilities. He said, "By fleeing the state, Texas House Democrats are holding hostage critical legislation to help flood victims and deliver property tax relief. Abbott directed the Department of Public Safety, DPS, to find, arrest, and return any lawmakers who had abandoned their duty to Texans. The redistricting plan was introduced during a special legislative session called by Abbott after Trump urged Texas Republicans to redraw the map. The new map would strengthen GOP control and could cut Democratic seats in the state from 13 to 8. Critics say the move is a clear case of gerrymandering, redrawing voting districts to benefit one political party. Outnumbered in the legislature, Texas Democrats left the state to break quorum and stall the bill. Lawmakers who remain absent can be fined $500 for each day they skip the session.
And I'd like to say welcome to all of my Texas colleagues. We want you to know that you are welcomed in Illinois. Stay as long as you want. Whatever we can do to make your stay more comfortable, we want to do that because we believe in what you're doing. You are courageous and we are here to support you. What you're doing and what they're trying to do in Texas affects you guys, but it affects the whole country.
It's not just Texas. It really is the United States of America, because if they succeed in Texas, they will take this to other states. They will take this to the county court level. They will take this to the commissioners, the school boards. They will take this across the length and breadth of the country, but they'll do it if we only stand by and watch them. But if we take a stand, we can stop them. That's what we're doing today. We're taking a stand and we're going to prevent them from going forward.
And so I'm very proud to stand united with my Democratic colleagues. Look, one thing I do know is that Texas House Democrats know how to fight. We've been in these fights before. We've had to fight every single day when we're in regular session. And so we have our sleeves are rolled up and we're ready to take this fight wherever it's going to take us, because our communities, our state, and our nation is definitely worth fighting for.
Look, I didn't run for office to walk out of the Capitol, but I also didn't run for office to stand by while democracy is stolen in broad daylight. Texas Democrats broke quorum because sometimes the only way to uphold your oath is to refuse to play along with the rigged game. Let's be clear. This special session was supposed to be about saving lives after a tragedy. A cabin full of 8-year-old girls was washed away in the middle of the night. Families called 911 only to hear that help wasn't coming. At the end of the day, 137 Texans lost their lives. That's an emergency. That demands our action. But instead of holding hearings on flood prevention, Greg Abbott and Donald Trump held 8 hearings on redistricting, not for fairness, not for representation, but to manufacture 5 more Republican seats in Congress to enable Trump to cling on to power. That isn't governing, that's a heist. And we're here to stop it.
Okay, so here's the thing. They're mad because everything was supposed to be done in the special session, right? They were supposed to handle the flood in the special session along with the redistricting, and they were mad because they didn't want that included, because they wanted it separate so they could literally hold it hostage, right? Because by Abbott incorporating and calling the special session like, hey, we're going to do all of these things during a special session so we can get it done, they got mad and they walked out. They're like, we're taking our toys, we're leaving. I'm taking He-Man and I'm out, right? And they have to come back with He-Man and She-Ra and everything. They're going to lose this. It's crazy. And so I wanted to read some comments from 2000. He says, everyone's against our lineage. Democrats came back without any consequences. If public safety was looking for them, they would have been arrested while out eating, stores, traveling. And no one was looking for them. This entire thing is theater on both sides. Well, here's the thing. They cannot arrest them outside of the state. And the Democrats knew that. That's why they fled. Now, this isn't the first time this has happened. It's happened in Portland, and it happened with the Republicans against the Democrats. They fled the state. Okay, so it's both parties do this. I don't want to call people out and say they're weird, but they do it. They both do it. And I'm not going to say they do it with impunity, but they do it without consequence, to your point. But what Abbott did was he said, upon returning to the state, so they can no longer flee from the state again if they try to, we are going to have the Dallas Police Department basically follow them around. So there were some, I should say, there were some representatives that decided they were not going to sign those slips and they were going to stay. But some of them did sign those slips and they left. And what those slips basically stated was that they were restricted in the sense of leaving the state. Like you can't leave the state again. So, he basically put them under surveillance and they had to sign. If they didn't sign the slips, they got to be there today. Like today is the day they got to show up. Okay. So some people slept there since Monday. They're doing their thing. I'm like, really? we're gonna watch the videos and see what they did. We're gonna check out some other things and some stuff I looked up, but that's where we're at. And to your point, AB 2000, yes, this is political theater. And this is the hill that they have chosen to die on. And the problem with the Democratic Party is you are still fighting for men and women's sports. You are still fighting for children to be mutilated. You are still fighting for things that the American people in mass said, we don't want this. But here's the problem. If you turn from that, it makes you a common sense person, then everybody's going to say, oh, you're siding with the right because you're just being a common sense person. You've trapped yourself in evil, by the way. And the question is, how do you return from it? That's the bigger question. How do you return from this? Or do you keep doubling down for evil? It's very simple. Okay, so now we're going to watch some representatives that decided they decided to rip up their slips. That's who these people are.
Figuratively put up against the wall and said, no one's allowed to leave.
Hold on.
Figuratively put up against the wall and said, no one's allowed to leave unless they basically sign a piece of paper consenting to moving custody, is what I call it. We are not criminals. We are statesmen and women. We are elected just like those people are.
We're being subjected to extreme and unnecessary measures. Taxpayer dollars should...
Okay, I gotta stop. I love how she has her cell phones making a statement. What is this? I see it on both sides. Why can't people talk and state their position? What are we doing? And thank you for joining and reposting the stream. What are we doing? It looks weird to me. How you're supposed to be so authentic, but your talking points are on your phone. Let's continue.
Not be wasted following elected officials around like criminals.
So while we're in here doing our slumber party for democracy, you will see that we will be working on the floor, strategizing and making sure that we bring the fight tomorrow, and we will not allow them to continue to keep silencing our communities.
I am here today
To tear up, not permission slip. And this should be a wake-up call for everybody, because this is how easy you can give up your rights. Who's ready to tear up this slip?
Yeah. So that was their big moment, right? They tore up their permission slips, and that's what it is. It is literally a permission slip. I was like, what are they doing? So of course I wanted to know. So of course you guys know I had to research. I'm like, what are they doing? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? What are we really discussing? Right? So let's check this out. So this is what I looked up. I said, can you summarize a document that Texas state representatives had to sign in regards to Greg Abbott? It goes, what was the document? Okay, Texas state representatives had to sign. So in 2025, more than 50 Texas House Democrats fled the state and to block a special session called by Governor Greg Abbott. That session aimed to push through a mid-decade redistricting plan the GOP-controlled House returned in force. Okay, so here we go. We are here. So to ensure attendance at the crucial vote, the Republican leadership led by House Speaker Dustin Burrows and backed by Governor Abbott, required returning Democratic lawmakers to sign a form. This document effectively served as a permission slip, which you saw that they ripped up, or release form, authorizing state troopers to escort them and confirm their presence in the chamber. It was seen as a mechanism to prevent further walkouts or failure to maintain quorum. So basically, they came back to the state, and Greg Abbott was like, okay, if you try to leave again, you're going to be arrested. You can't leave. Like, that's what we're doing. You can't leave again. Sean AI, thank you for reposting the stream. And Black Empower says this is so silly. It is. It is. We're ripping up our permission slips. You ain't doing nothing. You're still gonna lose. Sorry. Look, you don't have the majority. You are still going to lose. But let's continue. So this is what the document included: a pledge to be present in the House chamber and participate in proceedings, authorization for surveillance and state trooper escorts, okay, absently for safety and ensuring attendance, even accompanying some lawmakers into private settings such as grocery stores and their homes. They're like, Abba's not playing. Like, when I say that we're following you, okay? And a lot of them were just mad about it. Like, whatever. And MB 2000 says, since they want to act like children, permission slips it is. Yeah, because they are. I mean, they're doing everything but, rolling on their backs and kicking and screaming like a 2-year-old. So the Democratic response and what followed. So here's where we're going to get into Nicole. Nicole Collier's protest. Representative Nicole Collier of Fort Worth stood out by refusing to sign the form, calling it an affront to her autonomy. Instead, she overnighted in the chamber in protest, framing it as an act of democracy defense, and called herself a political prisoner. Now, you just watched and you saw that they're like, we're going to turn it into a slumber party. So how is it a slumber party, but she's by herself? Yeah, your messaging is weird. But let's continue. So what other Democrats did, some colleagues also tore up their permission slip, staging a slumber party for democracy in the chamber. The protests spotlighted concerns that the GOP's actions were authoritarian, trampling on civil liberties. Or are they just, messing up what your party wants to do? I honestly think it's just messing up with what your party wants to do. You don't care about people. And Black Empower says the other side of this is they had a regular job, right, and didn't show up to do it. They'd be fired. Exactly. And some of these people do have regular jobs. They only make like $500 a month doing this. This is not like being a federal representative. These are state representatives we're talking about. So we're not talking about Jasmine Crockett, but it's going to affect Jasmine Crockett. Does that make sense? The people that are voting right now. So Unc says, these are the offspring of these despicable Ellis Islanders in our government. They all should be deported now. Where is ICE when you need them? Unc's going in this morning. It's crazy. It's wild, y'all. It says why this matters. So redistricting states. The session was called to push through a controversial mid-decade redistricting plan, a rare move outside the usual post-census cycle, but it does happen. designed to add 5 additional Republican-leaning seats in Congress ahead of the 2026 midterms. Escalating tensions, Republicans viewed the document as a practical enforcement tool to secure quorum and legislative control. Democrats slammed it as a demeaning, authoritarian, and emblematic of a power grab, one that could undermine democratic processes. Again, they both do this. It's silly. We're just here for the show, right? Where is all of the popcorn? That's all I want to know. Because that's where we're at right now. We are at popcorn level nonsense. And I pulled up this story and it says, how many seats will Texas redistricting cost Democrats? Right. And I think that's kind of like their bigger question because they're really upset about what's going on. So Texas last redrew its congressional map along with the rest of the country in 2022, right? After the 2020 census. The redistricting approach the Republican-controlled state legislature took that year was a small c, conservative one, was the map they passed in exclamor of partisan fairness. Nope, it wasn't. But it also did squeeze out as many Republican seats as possible. Instead, the GOP played it safe and focused on protecting incumbent House members. That's an understandable enough strategy. Suburban cities in Texas had been drifting left for the past few cycles, and discussion of blexes were omnipresent, at least among Democrats. Now, we remember the whole blexes thing and all that other stuff. So in this article, he really just goes over like what is going on, and he shows the map, right? And these lighter colors are the areas where they're freaking out about the redistricting: 32, 23, 28, 34, and 15. Those are the areas that are going to be affected because they're going to be putting in new seats. And they're going to, so it's weird. It says, so Texas Democrats probably describe the map differently than I just did. They'd say that Republicans are trying to steal 5 seats. But no matter how you frame it, this new map has set off a gerrymandering war from California, Indiana. Republicans are probably favored to win in the long run. Yeah, they're upset because it affects the federal level. So that means the votes in the actual House that affect the purse, they'll have more seats than Democrats. But here's my thing. What if all 5 of these seats that these Republicans are like, yeah, we're doing this, what if they flip to Democrat? I'm just saying, what if they do? You can't determine really how people are going to vote. You can assume, and these maps are being drawn on assumption. They could change. And if they could change. People may not decide to vote for the person that they put up. What if they put somebody up in the Republicans and the Republican part, people are Republican like, I'm not voting down ballot for this. I don't want this person representing me. And they all become Democrats in a Republican area. That could happen. You may not want to hear that, but that can happen because people aren't robots. Just because you've redistricted an area to be predominantly one party over another does not mean that's who you're going to get. And the reason why I say that is I live here in the state of Georgia. We have a Republican governor. We have a majority House, federal level, right? Republicans. We have 2 senators for our state. And they're both Democrats. How does that happen? Yeah. It'd be weird. I mean, it'd be different if one was a Republican and one was a Democrat, right? I'd be like, okay, they're both Democrats. But I just told you we have majority Republican House members. We have a Republican governor. Our House members, right? House and Senate in the state are predominantly Republican. And we have 2 Democratic senators, federal level. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. People vote for who they want. And apparently people wanted Warnock and Ossoff because they are our state senator, our federal senators. That's who they are, period. A lot of people might say, well, they cheated and this, that, and the other. Look, that's who our senators are. And AB 2000 says, I'm sure they have some sort of campaign flooding undocuments to vote in these areas. Yeah, they do. And we're going to talk about the demographics here for Texas. I did a little bit of a deeper dive breakdown. We'll see his breakdown here. It says, how did the new Texas districts vote in the past? So 9th, 28th, 32nd, 34th. These are all the incumbents. Al Green, Henry Collier, Julie Johnson, Vincent Gonzalez, Greg Cesar. They're Democrats. Okay. This is how the presidential election went. It was all Republican plus 10 and up. Okay. Now for the 2020 presidential election, it was like in Al Green's district, there were 5+ Republicans. In Henry Collier, it was 9+ Democrats. Julie Johnson, 10+ Republicans. Vincent, 2+ Democrat. And in Greg Cesar, 1.9 Republican. So they still have people voting heavy Republican, but they're still the representatives. So they're getting, you know what I mean? Like, okay. But this is how they voted for Biden, right? And this is what happened with Trump. Now, what you can really see is the majority in these districts outside of Julie Johnson's district, they're Hispanic. Black people, we're barely there. Al Green's district is 50% Hispanic, 34% white, 13% black. And sir, you want to complain about representation? Sir, I'm just saying, you're in there. And Unc said, isn't it funny that when Black Americans are complaining about gerrymandering in our communities, nobody had a problem with it until the chickens came home to roost on them? Absolutely. Let's look. Henry Seller or Collier. I'm sorry if I messed up the name. 12% white, 87% Hispanic, 1% black. Yeah. Julie Johnson, like I said, 59% white, 16% Hispanic, 16% black. Vincent, 24% white, 72% Hispanic, 2% black. Greg Cesar, 37% white, 52% Hispanic, 8% black. So black people, we're not moving the needle in Texas. But they will have you sit up in there and say, oh, it's so racist towards us. No, it's not. We're not there. Come on now. Just stop your lies. Stop your lies. It's it's getting old. It's getting old. It's getting tired, and everybody's all exhausted. And AB 2000 says they've been removing us from these areas, though. Absolutely, they absolutely have been removing us from these areas, and we've had to move. What are we gonna do? A lot of people from Texas, they were like, okay, I'll move to California, or I'll move to Colorado, or I'll move to Wyoming. I will move somewhere else, right? Or move back to the South. People move back to Georgia. They move back to South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. They move back because they've gotten pushed out. It's crazy. Oh, Carlos, thank you so much for reposting the stream. I mean, so this was his perspective, right? So then, of course, you guys know I went back into ChatGPT and I wanted to find out just some of these demographics with this districting. And so here we go. So here's the wonderful little map because I asked, so can you give me the demographics of District 9, 28, 32, 34, and 35? These are the districts that will be affected. right? This is what the Democrats are crying for. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. This is just racism. No, it's not. It's not racism. You're just mad because your party lost. You're mad. Like the L is for real. And you're mad. Just admit it. Okay. So the district demographics, and this is really what I wanted to know, like the breakdown. So for District 9, right, the population is roughly over 750,000, median income 62,000. It's considered urban rural 99%, right? So that's a city district. And white people are 12%, Black people are 38%, Asian people are 9%, Hispanic is 39%. So they have the majority here. And it says their political leaning is strongly Democrat. So, like I said, even if the Republicans are drawing this for their favor as they see it because people voted for Donald Trump, they could still have a Democratic leader in this congressional district if that's how they decide to vote. There is a difference between the presidential election and then your midterm federal elections that happen. It just is. It just is. So, I don't know. AB says, I listened to the redistricting hearing and only Democrats kept bringing up race. Exactly. And I don't know why they kept bringing up race, because you've got the one minority that you've been fighting for over everybody, right? The Latinos came and got everything free, illegally. I mean, just a mess. But y'all are cool with that. You're cool with criminal activity. They like it. They like it. They dig it. So Texas 28th congressional district, population almost 800,000 at 799, 580,000. Median incomes about 63,000. Okay, so their racial composition is they've got 17% white, 4% Black, 0.9% Asian. Sorry, 75% Hispanic. Political leaning is slightly Republican, which means Democrats, if they wanted to, they could still get it. They could if they wanted to. But they keep talking about this racial thing. Black people, we are barely there. 4%, we're not doing nothing. 35%, okay, we got some maybe some pull here in District 9. District 28, we just need to leave it alone. Okay, Texas, 32nd congressional district. Okay. 762,001 people. It's 99.85% urban. Okay. And they've got 32% white, 19% Black, 8.4% Asian, 36% Hispanic. Is everybody catching the theme here? I think you need to catch the theme here. Hispanics are controlling this, y'all. We aren't. Which district is 28? Congressional district. I know you're asking, like, who is in District 28? I think that's the question. Let's see. District 28 is Henry Collier, and I'm not sure about like physical location of 28. Let's see if they have it on. Sorry. Have it on the map. 28 is down here. I'm not sure what area that is because I do not live in Texas. So it looks like it's Monterey County. So if you live in Texas, you might know better than I do, where that location is. I know that Houston is over this way. That's all I know. I know Houston's over this way, and I know Dallas is over this way because I've driven cross country a couple of times, and I take the 20. So I know where those places are. Just saying. But yeah, District 28, it's in Monterey County, wherever that is. I don't know where that is. Okay. Let's see. So again, District 28 is majority Hispanic. We've noticed District 32, majority Hispanic. District 34, Okay, we've got 778 people. It's 83% urban, 16% rural. Okay, and a lot of these areas, again, they are urban, which means they're very dense. It means you got people in apartments. You have more humans because they're kind of culled in. Does that make sense? They're all in small areas. Oh, sweet sister, thank you so much for reposting the stream. So, a lot of these areas that the Republicans are trying to redistrict are predominantly urban areas. Now, they have a political leaning that's balanced, but it's 90% Hispanic. It's 7.9% white, 0.4% Asian, 0.6% Hispanic. It's 90% Hispanic. So that means it's Hispanic. Y'all, nobody else really lives there. I'm pretty sure like all these people here, they live in the rural community. They probably don't live in the urban area. Just saying. And it's balanced, right? Republican and Democrats, pretty even. District 35, this is another congressional district. It is 834 55,000. Okay. It's 95% urban, 4% rural. So everybody's living in the city. That's what we're doing. 26% white, 11% black, 2% Asian, 55% Hispanic. Is everybody catching the theme here? And it's strongly Democrat. But again, there were people that voted for Trump. So they said, oh, let's redraw these districts so we'll get more Republican representation. That doesn't mean you're going to get it because these places are still heavily Democrat. That's all I'm saying. They really think redrawing this map is going to give them the seats that they want. Okay, do what you want to do. I don't think it's going to happen based on the demographics that are there in these cities. You got to remember, a lot of these people, they vote Democrat. And that's all it is. And it'll say, and my little summary table here, it breaks down the main ethnic groups. And in every instance, it's Hispanic. Even though they said white here, Hispanic is 36%. I'm not sure why it did that. Yeah, all of them, all the districts that they're talking about with this whole redistricting plan are majority Hispanic. So I do not want to hear the racial epithet. Oh my gosh, everybody's so racist. No. Stop that. And I definitely don't want to hear about anybody saying that there is no Latin representation. That's a lie. Stop lying to us. But see, this is why I pull up this information, because everybody gets to talk and have all their wonderful talking points, and we're fighting for the people, and oh my gosh. You keep clutching them pearls. Keep on. Keep on clutching them. We see you. Maybe 2000 says, people just don't want everything else the Democrats are pushing, even the Hispanics. Exactly. And I think that's why they're so fearful, because Hispanics do tend to vote Republican. They do. Now, if they were voting Democrat, they were voting Democrat because they were trying to get what they want. Okay? And a lot of them probably got what they wanted. But then when they got what they wanted, they saw how the Democrats were acting. So they were like, we're going to have to pull back. We're going to have to put somebody else in office. And they did. And they have the sway to do it. I'm not like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and pretend they don't have the sway. They've got it. I've shown you. All right. Chess move. Check. We're on the chessboard now. Like, what's next? What are we doing? So let's get back to Miss Collier. Check out what she's doing. She decided to have an interview. So let's see. I got a comment before we check out her interview. Sorry, guys. It's weird. Okay, so Hispanics are family-oriented and Democrats are LGBT and trans anti-family. Yeah, exactly. Like I talked about it yesterday, when it came to the abortion clinics, what they were talking about and all these different things. It's like Hispanics are on the low end of that. They don't get abortions. They have their babies. They just do. They have their babies, they take care of their families. That is their culture. Asians weren't even on the list really. But they encourage us to kill our babies, reproductive care. Nothing reproductive about it. It's all death care. It's crazy.
To vote tomorrow on a GOP proposed redistricting map. While Democratic lawmakers have returned to the state this week, one state representative is refusing to leave the Capitol. Representative Nicole Collier has been at the State House in protest since Monday when she rejected a police escort that Republican leaders imposed on lawmakers who participated in the 2-week walkout. Representative Collier joins me now. Thanks so much for being with us. And how are you holding up?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. I don't know if you can hear the cheers in the gallery out there, but is a crowd of people cheering and yelling, "Let them out," because I have just been joined by several of my Democratic colleagues who tore up their permission slips and said that they will not be held captive by the Republicans. And they are going to join me tonight in protest to this unreasonable, unnecessary, and harmful detention that I'm under.
So tell me why you're doing this.
Listen, when I heard, I've been elected to represent the people of House District 95. They sent me down here to fight and push back.
Okay, I'm going to pause her. She's not under any harmful detention. They all have the same permission slips. I just told you what the permission slip said. But she's the special one. And I want y'all to focus on that. She's the special one. Hers is, a little bit more oppressive than her colleagues, even though they all got the same permission slips. And Black Empire says, didn't Donald Trump receive a high voting percentage from Hispanics in Texas election 2020? He did. He did. And it was a surprise to the Democrats, and they were like freaked out because they thought, the Hispanics were going to go along with that nonsense. And they didn't. They didn't. And he's saying and AB 2000 says the blackface. Yeah. And let me just show you where this rabbit hole goes. It's very interesting.
Against bills that are harmful to our community. These maps that are rigged to have the outcome that Trump wants are harmful to my community. They will take away the voice of my district once these maps pass. So my district, I know that it's in my heart what I've been directed to do by the people who elected me. And so when I heard that in order for me to have my freedom, I had to agree to exactly what they wanted, which was for me to agree to be released into the custody of DPS, I said, no, I won't do it. I refuse to comply with this unreasonable, un-American, and unnecessary request.
I know you said that you expect some of your fellow Democrats to join you. I also know in another interview that you did right before us, you said that you have spoken with former Vice President Kamala Harris. Tell us about that conversation.
Oh, just what a surprise. I mean, literally, you would never think, I just wouldn't think that what I do, one thing I did was take a stand. One person, I know I won't win, but I took a stand anyway. But the number of people and who it has reached, the magnitude of that one act of defiance, it can spark a movement, and you don't know who's watching or who's paying attention. But it just so happened that Vice President Kamala Harris is paying attention to the people. And she called me to give me words of encouragement to continue to stay strong and fight.
And so she just called you up out of the blue?
I know. I didn't know she had my number, but I'm grateful she did.
So, what do you say to those who feel like, I know you're doing this in protest, but, what do you say to those who feel like you and your fellow Democrats should not have returned to the state, that you gave in too soon?
Well, no, we had set goals. Our goals were to kill the first session, to run the clock out on that one. We did that. Our goal was to raise awareness in the public about the gerrymandering that's going on, that's going to disenfranchise Black and Brown and Asian communities. And then our other goal was to make sure that we bring in the support from other Democratic controlled states to see if they would answer the call. You know, so often people talk about taking the high road. Well, that high road has crumbled. We're now on a dirt road, and we're going to meet the Republicans where they're at, and that's in the dirt. We're going to roll up our sleeves and get dirty and fight fire with fire, like Governor Newsom said.
But at the end of the day, it looks like these maps are poised to pass in your state. So can you really consider this a victory?
The victory is that the people have been activated. The people are tired. They're fed up of a government who refused to listen and take action that they want. So no, this is a victory. We've sparked a movement. Since we started two weeks ago, gerrymandering has become a household word. That wasn't happening before. Now people are seeing this for what it is. We won't go back to the Jim Crow era. We want to make sure that we preserve the freedom. And so we may not win this battle, but the war continues, and we will continue to take it through the court system and other states so we can push back, because we don't want to send any more reinforcement to Trump so that he can continue to run and burn this country down.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, if this map is approved, there are already threats of a potential court challenge. Is that where this fight is headed next?
Absolutely. We won't back down.
And what do you make of what California is doing?
I'm grateful. That's so courageous. What amazing act of bravery that this state is doing to meet the challenge, rise to this challenge and take ownership of it. I mean, literally for our democracy, not doing it just for California. They're doing it for all of America, because they know that the future depends on those Democrats who are willing to take a stand. And I encourage any Republican governor who gets that call that Abbott got, that you just hang up. Don't answer that call. Stand up and don't cower down and push back.
But do you think this tit for tat approach is the right one?
Well, what else is there? I mean, you tell me another solution or option, I'll be more than willing to consider it. This is what I know right now. This is what is in front of us. Again, we haven't gotten too far by taking the high road. Now we got to get low. That high road has crumbled. We're down in the dirt, and we're ready to get dirty with them. I hear the people cheering out there. The crowd is out there saying, fight, fight, fight. And that's what they expect us to do.
All right. Well, State Representative Nicole Collier, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. Thank you guys for indulging me, because here's the thing. When I started, I showed you the video of her colleagues that she's referring to, and those paid protesters. You know, they were paid. Stop that. They were paid to be there. They had their little signs and the rah-rahs, right? That was not natural. That was completely staged. Her colleagues were completely staged. They had to write down what they were going to say. She's in the chamber. Where's everybody else? Why isn't everybody else on camera with you, behind you, organically just saying, hey, why is she being interviewed? She was interviewed by this takeout, but she was interviewed by like other media news outlets, plural. You're not in the chamber by yourself. You have a whole camera crew, ma'am. It's almost like, anybody watch it, like that show Naked and Afraid? You're like, wow, right? They're out there with an entire camera crew. No, these people are not going to die. Okay? They're not. It's a reality show. And we are watching the reality show of the Democrats as much as they talk about Donald Trump and their reality show. This is a complete reality show. I'm about to break that down to you guys. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any content. And Black Empower says this is the exploitation, manipulation. She's trying to make herself out to be Rosa Parks. It's disrespectful. It is. She is trying to make herself the center of this, the face of this. They're making her the face of this, you guys. It's really crazy, the things that we're about to hear from the Republican, not the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, where this is going. It's weird. So it says the Democrats are modern day slave masters. They're still using the black struggle. Did you hear her talking about Jim Crow laws? What are we talking about? They're redistricting, ma'am. They're not trying to get people to not vote. And all of those districts, as I showed everybody, are majority Hispanic. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? What? Because you're not fighting for black people. I don't know who you're fighting for, but you're not fighting for black people. I need you to stop. Okay. Now here's the fun part. I know I need to take a break, but I can't. This is going to be fun. So I'm going to play for you the phone call that she got from Kamala Harris. And I want you to see everything that's going on. But before we even get into that call, I want to show you her setup. She's got a pillow, she's got these little things on her head, she's chilling. Why is there a book posted? Like, what are we doing? What? Look, I hope y'all are sitting back laughing because this is hilarious. Like, who has their whole desk set up like this to take a nap? And who took the picture? Again, she's got a whole news crew in there with her. She's got at least 3 different network news crews in there with her because she was on different networks talking. There's people in the chamber with her. Stop it. She's not on her phone. She's not on her laptop. She's got complete lighting and everything. This is so staged. It's ridiculous, right? He said her luggage in the back. Right over here. You know what I'm saying? What are we doing? This is got her eyes covered. Look. It's ridiculous. The pillow, and it's got the state of Texas on it in the rainbow flag colors, by the way. Let's just see all that with the tassels. She's got her other little plush blanket over here. This is ridiculous. Big R, ridiculous. Okay. So now we're going to get into her phone call from VP Harris.
Where it is so lacking in those who should have it.
Oops, let me take it back.
Really are inspiring, lacking in those who should have it. In a moment in the history of our country where it is so lacking in those who should have it, and you really are inspiring so many people. And I just want you to know that you are among those who history will reveal to have been heroes of this moment. So you just stay strong and do what you are doing. You have the right instinct, you are talented, and you are principled.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much this means to me and the community that I represent, that you care. You took the time to pay attention to the people, and that matters. It really matters. Thank you. Thank you.
You just be strong, okay?
Yes.
And just know, even though I know you're in there by yourself, you're taking a stand by yourself. I think some of your colleagues have joined you. But you just remember, when you're in those rooms and it feels like you're the only one there, we are all in that room with you. And so any moment where you feel alone, you do not feel alone. You've got to know we are all there with you, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All
Strong.
right, my dear.
Thank you.
Stay strong.
Yes.
Okay, I'll see you later.
All right, take care.
You reach out anytime. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Vice President Kamala Harris. Oh my goodness. You guys, this is amazing. The fact that she is watching what we're doing right now in this moment means that we are making a difference. What we do matters. People are watching and they are ready to hold this government accountable. Get fired up, get ready, and vote. Let's do it. Oh my gosh, I'm just overwhelmed, you guys. I'm overwhelmed. I'm so grateful. Thank you guys. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Y'all. The staging. Okay? I look. The staging, the camera angles, who's doing this? Like, we already know this is like propping. She's being totally used as a prop right now. It is crazy. I mean, Oh, have y'all seen this before? I mean, I haven't. I'm gonna bring it up. But it's just the astroturfing. Yeah, in AB 2000, he's laughing. He was like, "What's the book? Yeah, what's the book about? Yeah, she threw Asians in there. Oh yeah, the whole thing. But this phone call though. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Oh, stop that! If you don't stop it, who was filming her? She was being filmed. This was not random. Like I said, she's not in there by herself. She's got camera crews, plural, because she's got different outlets covering her. Stop the You're in there by yourself. No, you're not. You're just having a slumber party with your coworker, with your other people. You're not in there by yourself. You even said in the interview, yeah, my colleagues, they're out there too. They're talking about having a slumber party. Are you just not invited to the slumber party? Are they the mean girls of this right now? And you're just by yourself? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? This is crazy. And it says, I guess the Democrats, demons, don't realize that we know all this stuff. It's kids. It's crazy. This is why I call them the Blackberry Party of politics. They are. They're so Blackberry in this. But I got to do a callback. Now, we just saw her little call with VP Harris, and VP Harris is so proud of her. And you're not by yourself, and we're in there with you. We're just okay. Well, let's see this callback video. I think you guys are going to remember this one.
Hi.
Hey there.
Oh, hi, you're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh my goodness. Michelle, Brock, this means so much to me. I am looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this too, aren't we?
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. I've seen this before. I've seen this setup before. I've seen this type of phone call before. How you're like, the way you're holding the phone. That's why I recognize this. Because you already did it with VP Harris. VP Harris has already had this crew. I wonder if it's the same film crew that did her spot. Because I call it a spot, right? I'm calling it a commercial. Because that's what it is. They basically filmed, they call them now TikTok videos or little shorts, but she basically filmed a 30-second spot that can be rerun for fundraising, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what this is all about. This is about them fundraising off of this. Oh, help us beat the Republicans. Help us fight. Remember when we went to the Capitol? Remember when we did XYZ? Remember when Harris called me and told me to fight? Yeah, this is all about fundraising at the end of the day. This is complete manipulation. And Black Empower says, yuck. Yeah, absolutely. Gag worthy. Okay, but I had to show it because I'm like, this is what they're doing. Some people like to call it astroturf. It is completely fake. Everything that happens is completely fake. He said the political resume. Yeah, that's all they're building. I wonder where they're gonna have her next, because she is pretty. She is a pretty Black lady, and they're like, okay, you're a pretty Black lady. You know, you're pretty straight. You know, maybe the Black people will like you, and they'll start to vote for us again. We're never coming back. I just want you to know that we're never coming back. I'm not going back. I don't know about you out there. You know, I'm not gonna mess with you if you decide to vote for Democrats. That's your business, but I'm not going. That's why I started the Redemption Party, because I refuse to be a part of any of this nonsense. And it's just nonsense. It's idiocracy. And it's bad. And we see it. And they can no longer hide what they are doing. You know, if their plan was to devastate us, and AB 2000 says the nose scratch on the phone gave the game phone call by. Right? What are we doing? And AB 2000 says it's fake. It is. It's super fake. It's super duper. Oh my goodness. I don't know how. I don't know how people do it. But yes, I do. They got money. It's a money thing. It's a money thing. So before I go to break, I know I keep saying I'm gonna go to break, but this is getting good to me. So I wanted to really check out her net worth because she may be somebody who can or cannot be bought, right? And if you have money, you can't really be bought, right? Unless you're just buying into all of the ideological mental mind games and you're about that, right? Because right now you are not about serving your district. You are not about serving your district because if the Democrat Party was intelligent, what they would really start focusing on is, okay, these new districts, even though they're rewritten, we're going to focus on the ground, letting people know that we are still here to represent them. If there was anything you could do about representation, but you can't because people aren't going along with your ideology that you're pushing. You're not pushing for people to have families. You're not pushing for people to prosper. You're not pushing for people to do well. If you were, people would continue to vote for you. You're destroying your party from the inside, and we're just all sitting back eating popcorn watching. We're watching you burn. And you're doing it to yourselves. Nobody has to do it to you. So here's Nicole Collier's net worth. So as of 2025, her estimate net worth is between $1 million and $5 million. Okay. Now, this is someone who makes roughly $600 a month. Yeah, $600 a month representing her district. So, according to sources citing her income from a successful law practice, business ownership, and legislative salary, okay, the estimate contrasts with another source claiming a net worth of $46.9 million in 2025. So she's making her money somewhere. She's paid. Okay. It says, though the latter lacks verifiable detail and may be unreliable. So her estimated net worth could be anywhere between 1 and 5 million, okay, or 46.9 million. That's a jump. That's a stretch. I could take 10 million, but I got 46. Okay. All right. So Collier's wealth primarily stems from her career as an attorney and small business owner. In addition to her annual legislative salary of $7,200 plus per diems, she represents District 95 in Fort Worth, Texas, and has served in the Texas House of Representatives since 2013. The discrepancy in reported net worth earnings highlights the importance of evaluating source credibility with the 1 million to 5 million range appearing more consistent with public official earnings and available biographic data. So I said, what is her small business? So it says she's a Democratic member of the Texas House of Representatives. Okay. And is a small business owner and trial lawyer. She is currently a partner at a Fort Worth law office, Weston Associates, where her practice focuses on public finance law. Okay. So she graduated from Texas. It says she began her career as a trial lawyer with years of experience and also ran her own small business prior to legislative service. Okay. So what's the name of her small business? Like I keep asking, like, what does she do? Like what we're doing. It says the provided context does not specify the name of Collier's small business. It confirms she is a small business owner and a part of the Fort Worth law office of Weston Associates, which focuses on public finance law. However, the name of her small business, of her own small business, is separate from her law partnership, is not mentioned in the available sources. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, look, I'm cool you being a small business owner. That's how you made your money, get your money on. But why can't it show? Why aren't we showing that? Like, what is the name of you? Like, I'm a small business owner. The name of my business is Noni Consulting Management Services, LLC. That's the name of my business. If you were to Google me and you were to say Ashaki Nichols business, that's what's going to come up because that's my small business. It's very simple. It's very easy. I'm not worth a lot. That's fine. But still, you can find it. You can find me. She's made all this money. And yeah, you're a small business owner doing what? That's my question. Like, what do you do? Do you provide legal services? Like, what do you do? Because when you work for a law firm, there are certain things that you cannot participate in because it will cause a conflict of interest. And if your firm takes on any cases, they may not be able to take on those cases because you're there, because you would serve as a conflict. So she's not doing any legal services outside of that law firm. That I know because she can't do it. Okay? So what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Yeah. The rabbit hole goes deep on this one, y'all. And they are propping her up. I'm just saying. They're propping her up. We need to be mindful of this one. So I'm going to take a quick break and I'll see you guys on the other side.
The browsers of today are broken. They've been overtaken by a barrage of sneaky and annoying ads, trackers that follow your habits, and cookies that build profiles, and all sorts of other internet clutter that's taking precedence over the content that you want to see. In fact, these useless bites can take up to a whopping 50% of page load times, with a third of it anxiously trying to learn more about you. To make matters worse, some ad blockers are even letting ads through when large advertisers pay them. But do you really want a leaky ad blocker? It's because of these very reasons that we developed Brave, a new browser that kicks internet crud to the curb and makes it faster, safer, and better to surf the web than your current browser. With Brave, everything you need is built right in. We integrated technology that automatically blocks trackers, annoying ads, and shields everything that can cramp your style and destruct your privacy. With it, you can expect increased speeds nearly 2 times faster on laptops and up to 4 times faster on mobile. And unlike any other browser, Brave allows you to support your favorite publishers with automatic micropayments, so it's a win-win for you and your favorite sites. To top it all off, Brave is open source, because we truly believe it's our web and we need to fix it together. So ask yourself this question: do you want a web browser made for the internet of today? If so, try Brave. It's faster, safer, and ad-free.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me here again on Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern. And my name is Dr. Ashaki Noni Nichols, and I will be your host. And so what I wanted to look at is I went ahead and went to the Secretary of State for Texas because I wanted to find what she's a part of, right? Like, what are we doing here? So apparently she is a part of the Texas Lawyers Association. She's a director. All right. It's in existence. She was a member of the Collier Martini PLLC, which is just another name for attorneys that are basically a private LLC. And it was voluntarily dissolved. Now she's the director and attorney of Nicole D. Collier PC. So this is what her small business is. So she is still considering herself a small, because that's it. Like, what else are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, what else are you doing? But I'm like, okay. And those were in existence. The chemical products, that's to somebody else with NW Collier. I don't think that's her. But here it is again, that she's a part of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus Research and Education Alliance Fund, which is a nonprofit organization where she is the director. She's also the registered agent for this organization, which basically means she filed the documents for it, and there it is. And so she's also she was the director of YES, which is Youth for Education and Success. So the acronym is YES, and that was involuntarily dissolved. Let me see. There was another one that she's a part of. Sorry, my stuff is not opening where I would like it to. I gotta move things on the screen, and everything is black. It's just like, oh. Okay, anyways. So she was also a member of Big GC LLC, and it forfeited its existence. So it's no longer in existence, basically. Again, looking at being a registered agent for Nicole D. Collier PC. Okay. That would be a small business. And then she's also a registered agent for the Fort Worth African American Museum and Cultural Center, which is in existence, and that's a nonprofit organization. Now, just because she's the registered agent doesn't necessarily mean she's a part of the organization. That just means she helped them set up, right? And she could be like a silent partner or a member or whatever. I mean, there's nothing that says she can't be against it. But she is definitely a part of some nonprofit organizations. Could that be where the money's coming from? Because a lot of these nonprofits, they get these very large, right, donations from different places. And, they're going to have to start doing some public filings of where they are. So again, I went to ChatGPT and I was like, well, what is this? I just asked one of them. I said, what is the Texas Legislative Black Caucus Research and Educational Alliance Fund? Long. Okay. And it says it's based in Austin. It's been in existence since 1985. The figures below come from the organization's IRS and 990 filings. So it's not just recent. So it's something that she became a part of. Okay. Between 2018 and 2022, revenue relies mostly entirely on contributions and donations, no program service revenue reported, no liabilities reported in the years shown, right? Largest recent year was 2022, where they had $528,000 in revenue, $255,000 expensive, and their ending net assets were $592,000. Okay. Interesting. How you got the revenue, you got total expenses, and then they had a surplus. So it means they probably had, it didn't cost as much as they thought, right? And then they ended up with net assets in 2022. Okay. So, I was just trying to find out. So the compensation filings list board key officers at zero reportable compensation, and other salaries and wages are reported at, anywhere from 91,000 in 2022 to 102,000 in 2021. So even though the officers didn't make money, somebody was making money because they paid salaries. Okay. That happened. And they said they weren't able to locate any credible public service detailing the earnings of Nicole D. Collier, possibly a law firm or personal legal entity by that name. The information that did surface appears unrelated, often referring instead to individuals like Nicole D. Collier, PhD, an author or educator, not a legal firm or its financials. Because income or net earnings of private firms, including those designated as PC professional corporations, are not typically publicly disclosed in the U.S. There's generally no direct data available unless the firm has opted to release it or it's part of a regulatory filing or subpoenaed record. Yeah. So she can have this PC and people can donate money to her with impunity. And no one would ever have to know. Because it's not public. Just saying. And Dr. C says, yes, because nonprofit organization doesn't mean no profit. Exactly. It just means they don't pay taxes on the money that they get to hold on to. I said the PC is located in Fort Worth, Texas. It's one able to find publicly available financial performance, Nicole D. Right. Because I was just trying to find it. But this is what did found. 2016 professional financial statement cover sheet lists Nicole D. Collier PC with a Fort Worth P.O. box. It includes a breakdown of net gain ranges less than 5,000 to 999,000 and then all the way up to 25,000. Presumably options for what someone might report, but it does not reveal any specific earnings figure. There is no public disclosure, such as state filings, regulatory disclosures, or legal directories that provides revenue or income details for this entity. Private law firms in the U.S. generally do not disclose their income publicly unless required by law. The form PFS I've found may belong to a personal financial disclosure, but no exact numbers were provided, only ranges, and we don't know the selected value. I was also able to look broadly for Nicole D. Collier PC Fort Worth earnings in similar queries, but didn't find additional financial data or context. Yeah. Yeah, so they weren't able to find a lot on her, but the reason why is because what she does under her law firm, right? Under that PC, she doesn't have to disclose anything. So she can be a small business doing whatever she chooses because she's under the blanket of that PC. See, I think that's a lot of the reason why a lot of these individuals that are in places of position are attorneys, because they can get paid off and not have to disclose anything. They can get paid off and hide. And I'm not saying that that's her, right? I'm not saying that's what she's doing. And I'll preface it with allegedly and do all the little blanket conversational things that we need to do as podcasters, right? But I'll say allegedly. It could mean that. It could mean that you can be paid from anybody from anywhere and not have to disclose anything. So, of course, I went to Open Secrets because I wanted to know a little bit more about her, right? And here she is. And she was able to raise $21,000 from 13 donors in 2024, which is not a lot, right? Compared to, some other people. It's not a lot. And then I went back to 2013 with her, and she actually raised 33,000 with 97 donors. So she has less donors now. She has fewer donors now than she did in 2013. And she has less money now raising that they're counting in Open Secrets. But somehow you're worth $1 million to $5 million. That's what they think. That's what I kind of pulled from ChatGPT. And then another thing was like she could be worth up to like, 46.9 million. Yeah. Yeah. This is the stuff I find weird. Let's see what's happening in 2021 with her. Only 13,000. Like I said, it's stuff like this. And I'm like, you weren't making that much. 30,000 in 2023. 2024. So at the state level running, she's not balling out of control. She's not making millions of dollars. And yet they're using her because they can. Because they can pay it right to her PC, allegedly. And she doesn't have to report it. She doesn't. She doesn't have to report it. Because if it's to her small business, it has nothing to do with her political career. Just want y'all to know that. And there's no conflict of interest with that. None. Okay? None. Zero. Whew. My goodness. Okay, I'm trying to get to AB's comments. He's saying they've been stealing for the last 4 years. They are stealing. Why? There's nothing about her company. Probably due to a failure to tax reports. Wow, with no liabilities. Exactly. These people are funneling billions of foreign funds through Kamala's campaign. They already did that. They saw her literally as a pass through. They knew she wasn't gonna win. It was all a heist. And we all saw it. It all happened. And it was allowed. Because IRS could have shut it down. They know where money is moving. Stop that. They know. They're all in on it. It's one of those things, as George Carlin says, it's a big club and you ain't in it. Period. I'm just pointing out to you some of the people in the club, because why are they going to single out this woman? She's not making a lot of money. I just showed you she's not making a lot of money, but she's got a way to hide money with no questions asked. And they gave her a platform to be able to do it. Yeah, here we go. 2.0. Here we go. VP Harris 2.0. That's where we're at right now. And when I'm saying that, I'm not saying that she's going to be the VP or she's acting like the VP. I'm just saying she's being used in that way. The videos, oh my gosh, like even the reporter was like, did you know she was going to call you? Oh no, I didn't. Stop that. So staged. Just a mess. Everybody's tired of being lied to, by the way, Democrats. Like, I don't know if you realize this, but you're really making people angry. People see you coming and they're just like, we don't even want to. It's like everything shuts off. I don't even want to hear you speak, because everything you say is a whole lie. You don't care about people. You've shown who you are. You took the veil off. You took off the mask. You took off the mask. Everybody has seen who you are, and they don't want to do it anymore. They're just exhausted. They're tired. They're so tired. But I wanted to check out some news, on all sides. I think I got another comment that came in. You guys have to forgive me, because some of these comments I have to scroll up to find them and make sure I'm finding the right ones. And AB 2000 says, modern day slavery Democrats using Black women, Jasmine, Nicole, Kamala. Yeah, you're not wrong though. She is completely being used, and she's allowing herself to do it. So they must have paid her some good money, because like I said, they found like 46.9 million, but they can't confirm it. That's the cool thing about AI. It's like they'll find what they suspect, but it even said, it's like, I can't confirm this, but it could be. Because like I said, she doesn't have to report it if they give it to her small business. And they can give it to her as a retainer. They can give it to her as what's another thing that they can donate it to her firm, just to prop up her firm. Because she's a small business. She's a Black-owned business. She's a minority-owned business. And so they can be like, yeah, we just want to give this donation to your business. She doesn't have to report any of it because of the way it's established. And it has nothing to do with her campaign. And she's kept her campaigns really low, like no monies. Like you don't see it go from like 30,000 to like 1.5 million and then back to 30,000. Nope. It's been all in the 10s and the 20s, at the highest at the 30s. Nothing to trigger or alarm the IRS or the FEC or anyone of what's going on. Find it interesting, y'all. Find it fascinating. So let's get into some of this news from all sides. Yeah, it's been an interesting news cycle. So I watched a little bit of it yesterday. So the White House, the Kremlin, and media offer split framing on prospect of Putin-Zelensky summit. Okay, we might be able to get the two men in the room. So Russian President Vladimir Putin has agreed to begin the next phase of the peace process, a meeting with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, according to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. However, media across the spectrum have offered different reports. So here's the details. Fox News on the right highlighted that Leavitt's comments came during her press briefing on Tuesday. She added that a trilateral meeting also involving Trump would follow if necessary. The trilateral in Budapest on Monday afternoon, Politico that leans left reported the Trump administration is planning for a possible trilateral meeting between Putin, Zelensky, and Trump in Budapest, Hungary. Politico anonymously cited a Trump administration official and a person close to the administration as its sources. I think they're just trying to throw salt in the game. We'll see. So Russian posture, BBC News Center reported that on Tuesday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov watered down that already vague commitment. Lavrov said the meeting would have to come together gradually, starting with the expert level and thereafter going through all the required steps. The BBC described this comment as a frequent Kremlin line. So other media reports, Political, also noted Lavrov's comments in a separate article headlined Moscow waffles on Putin-Zelensky summit as Trump escalates pressure. Newsweek, which centered, highlighted that when asked about Political's Budapest report, she said she could neither confirm or deny reports about location, but we'll have more information on that soon. The New Republic that's left noted that Leavitt was forced during her Tuesday press briefing to walk back the claim that Putin had agreed to a meeting with Zelensky. When a reporter said that Kremlin didn't officially confirm a bilateral meeting, she said the administration is working with both Russia and Ukraine to make that bilateral happen as we speak. So she was kind of talking alongside the meeting that had been had between Putin and President Trump and the meeting that was literally going on between Zelensky and Trump. So I can see it. I mean, as long as they are working towards that goal, I'm not mad at it. I'm not, because he's working towards peace and people act like that's a bad thing. It's like he doesn't want people dying. He doesn't want war. President Trump has stated this over and over and over again. Even when he was on the campaign trail, he was like, I don't want people dying. It was almost like, what is wrong with you, reporters? What is wrong with you, Congress? We don't need people dying. We need to put peace measures in place. What is wrong with you? And then you'll have the media turn around. He's friends with Putin. Really? He needs to have good relationships with everybody, period. You need to be a good diplomat if you're going to be the president. Really? And all of the leaders that came there to talk? Because they already know daddy's home. This is getting done. Y'all need to calm down. Okay, I got a new comment and I just want to make sure. Okay, Black Empower says, business isn't fluid when there's war. Yeah, exactly. Because it becomes a different business. It becomes contractual. It becomes a lot of the people that make weapons, they get those government contracts. People that can do contracts for disaster relief and different things of that nature. They're trying to money launder. And he's messing up their money being peaceful. And they don't like it. They don't like it. They're like, no, we can't have peace right now. We need our money. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay, this is interesting. I find this fascinating. U.S. deploys sailors and Marines to Caribbean, however you want to pronounce it, to target drug cartels. Maduro responds. So Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro announced he will deploy 4.5 million militiamen in response to the U.S. deployment of troops to Latin American waters. What are we doing? So, according to Reuters that center bias, about 4,000 U.S. sailors and Marines have been deployed to the southern Caribbean as part of the Trump administration operation to combat drug cartels in Latin America. It reported that three Aegis guided missiles destroyers are expected to arrive off the coast of Venezuela within the next 36 hours. An unnamed Defense Department official told Reuters that military assets have been assigned to the region in support of Collier narcotics efforts, and the operation would happen over the course of several months. Okay. So President Donald Trump has sought to expand military action against drug gangs that the U.S. has designated as global terrorist organizations. So on August 7th, 2025, the State Department announced a $50 million reward offer for information leading to the arrest or conviction of Maduro for his alleged involvement with drug cartels, doubling the amount originally set in 2020. So this is how the media covered. So CNN that leans left emphasized Venezuela's plans to defend itself, quoting Maduro, who said, "No empire will touch the sacred soil of Venezuela, nor should it touch the sacred soil of South America." It noted U.S. claims of his illegitimacy alongside Venezuela's denial of drug allegations. Washington Examiner that leans right led with the increased bounty on Maduro. It noted Trump's past criticism and U.S. federal charges against him, including narco-terrorism, narco-terrorism, and weapons-related offenses. So Reuters focused on the military operation and types of military assets the U.S. has sent in recent months. It contextualized the operation within Trump's plan to address drug trafficking. Guys, wars and rumors of wars. So things are going on all over the place. And the Trump administration is standing up. They're not backing down. It's crazy. So Marine Reserve officer agrees to leave U.S. after ICE arrest. Okay, I got to see this one. Because I know there was something, I don't know if it's the same person, but he was like impersonating a police officer or something. It was weird. So this is the dude. Maine Reserve police officer arrested by ICE agrees to leave U.S. So former Maine police officer John Luke Evans, a Jamaican citizen who overstayed his visa, has agreed to leave the country after being arrested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So here are the details. Evans allegedly entered the U.S. in September 2023, but failed to leave when his visa expired and did not take a scheduled flight in October 2023. He became a seasonal reserve officer. What? For the Old Orchard Beach Police Department in May, and was taken into custody after trying to purchase a firearm for work. In a press release, Elise Chard, the police chief of the Old Orchard Beach Police Department, said the department does not knowingly employ undocumented immigrants, but you did, and that it goes to great lengths to verify the employment eligibility of applicants. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. This dude, how? Okay, come on. If you didn't know, that means he stole somebody's identity and had to have a social security number and a license that went through the background check properly, or you just didn't check his background. One of the two things are happening. He either stole somebody's identity or had fake paperwork, right? Or you just didn't check it. I want to go with the latter. You didn't check it. Stop it. Y'all are lazy. You just got caught. So Homeland Security confirmed Evans was authorized to legally work in the town as a seasonal reserve on May 12, 2025 until March 19th, 2030. According to the Old Orchard Beach Police Department, reserve officers are not allowed to bring department-issued firearms home or allowed to purchase or carry any other firearms. To become a reserve officer, Evans had to submit several federal documents, including his Jamaican birth certificate and passport, Massachusetts driver's license, and a U.S. Social Security card. Well, we all know Massachusetts is a sanctuary state, so what are we talking about? What are we doing? Y'all hide these people. So here's how the media covered it. The New York Post, that leans left bias, focused on Evans' immigration status, saying that he must admit his unlawful presence, forego legal status applications, and prove he could leave voluntarily. The outlet also quoted Homeland Security's Tricia McLaughlin, who criticized the police department's reckless reliance on E-Verify and argued it should have done more vetting. Yeah, duh. But they're a sanctuary state. Let's talk about it. So Straight Arrow News, that center focused on the arrest by ICE and the Old Orchard police response to accusations. It also included the process Evans went through to become authorized to work in the U.S. The Independent, that leans left, emphasized Evans' role as a police officer, his authorization to work in the United States, and the legal steps for his departure. It also included photos of Evans receiving his police badge. Like, this is crazy. This dude, first of all, he had already overstayed his visa. So he already overstayed. So he was already illegal according to the visa. So whatever documentation he gave them, they didn't check it. They couldn't have. Because if they would have ran it through E-Verified, it would have kicked back. Sorry. Like, I'm sorry. It's like some of this stuff two things can't be right at the same time. It can't be. It can't be. It's weird. And AB says they knew this because they didn't give him a gun. He had to buy a gun, one himself. And here's the thing. That's what tipped this whole thing off. Had he not bought the gun, this dude would have been chilling as a voluntary officer. What are y'all doing? But see, Massachusetts, y'all are still a sanctuary state. Like, that's what you're doing up there. That is what you're doing. I already covered that the governor up there, had like $97 million that she was given to illegal aliens, calling them residents of the state and giving them money. You're not taking care of your homeless problem, but you're giving these other people money and making sure they're all set up and propped up. I mean, this is really disgusting what's happening in our country, and we have to stand up against it. We do. We really do. And, the cool thing about it is the midterms are coming, and we have the opportunity to stand up and show these individuals, wherever they are, you're not going to be in office. Who is going to vote out Al Green? All of these people need to be primaried and removed, because this is crazy. This is crazy. And AB 2000 says they were trying to have these illegal immigrant police officers get rid of our lineage. Exactly. Because it's interesting. Because this is not the only place that this has happened. I want to say, was it New York? They started hiring people that had come here illegally. First of all, they came here illegally, and then they were like, "Oh, we're going to give you work permits. Oh, we're going to let you be police officers." What? They even let some of these people in our military, because if they serve at least 18 months in the military, then they can get naturalized. Oh yeah, that's still happening. There's just a lot of different ways that they have funneled these people in here. He said, and California. Oh, especially California. Oh, they definitely don't care about people. They truly don't care. And Sway Me, thank you so much for reposting the stream. I appreciate you. Yeah. So, you know, we've talked about a lot. We definitely covered Nicole Collier. And I want you guys to really be on the lookout of how the news cycle is going to focus on propping her up. I think there's going to be a full court press campaign for her on X, just showing videos of her and how she's just, this lone person and acting with such bravery and blah, blah, blah. And, VP Harris calling her. It's like, okay, here's the thing. VP Harris does not have the credibility that all of you think. Y'all all love her within your party, and that's completely fine. And I get it, because she's VP. You know what I'm saying? Like that's your person. But the rest of the world in America, we ain't buying it. We're out. We're out. And the majority are out because they voted somebody else in office over her. So when you mention her name as if that's a clout pusher, it's not clout. It isn't. It's not street cred. It's not clout. It's nothing. Okay? It's a big goose egg. It falls on deaf ears. Nobody's like shocked that you were called by VP Harris. It looked completely staged and set up. Just like her phone call was completely staged and set up when the Obamas called her when she got the nomination, saying that they were going to support her. Those were both staged events. This woman sleeping at the Capitol, completely staged. Who puts a book propped up on the desk? Really? With your luggage in the background? Like, the whole thing is a setup. And guess what? There's a particular demographic that's not going. I'm just saying. Black people are not going. Latinos aren't even going. White people aren't going. There's a lot of demographics that are not going, but Black Americans, we are not going. I know I'm not going. I'll speak for myself. I don't know about my audience, but I'll speak for myself. I'm not going. I'm not buying this nonsense, this garbage. It's garbage. Stop it. The redistricting is going to happen because your party has failed to take care of people. Most of your cities look like dumpster fires. Okay? They look worse than third world countries. And yet, and still, you want people to vote for you for what? You're not doing anything. All you're doing is asking for the money at the federal level. And by the time it gets down to the local level, it's gone because it's filled everybody else's pockets. That's why businesses can't function, because you want to defund the police and you have crime rampant in your cities and you're sitting back like, we don't know how this happened. Yes, you do. Because you don't care. It happened because you don't care. And you shouldn't be in office. And Texas should be red and independent of the Democratic Party, as most states are going to be and should be. Your party has failed. But it hasn't failed in one thing. It's actually been very good at letting us know exactly who you are. And now we believe you. Just saying. And with that, we're going to end the stream for today. So remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you on the next one.